Welcome to Real Deal. I'm Tara.
And I'm Jazelle.
And this is a holiday special Mother's Day episode. We are going to talk about some of our favorite Mother's Day films. Not necessarily made for Mother's Day, but just having to do with the topic of motherhood.
Pertaining to mothers.
Parenting and
being the victim of a mother.
All that jazz. Being the reflection of your mother.
Oof. Anything mother related.
Loving your mother.
Being your mother.
Turning into your mother.
We got it.
All that. And for any scorned mothers listening, we will have a Father's Day episode.
And trust me, they will get theirs as well.
Yep. All right, Jazz. You want to kick us off? What is your first pick?
My first pick is Mommy Dearest. I don't know if you've ever watched it. But it came out in 1981, directed by Frank Perry. It's pretty much an adaptation of Christina Crawford's autobiography about her mother, Joan Crawford. If you're not familiar with Joan Crawford, she was a famous Hollywood star. But it was revealed in this autobiography that Joan Crawford was like very manipulative, abusive, and just very scary in a lot of ways. And the trauma that Christina Crawford endured in her childhood was reflected in this movie. And it's just about like her experiences growing up.
The movie is nuts.
That movie honestly
is nuts.
It's a great film. I feel so sorry for Christina Crawford, though, that she had to go through that.
What's interesting, though, is I know after that movie was released, she came out and kind of, like, recanted a lot of that and was like, oh, it's not accurate. And
yeah, she did say that.
Yeah. I mean, understandable girl. That's called guilt. Anyway, yeah, that movie is nuts. And I feel like I've always read that Joan Crawford was not always playing a part. Girl was that crazy.
Yeah, and there are lots of accounts of people that she's worked with and people that she's dated, and they've all been like, yeah, she's a little bit much.
Yeah, what a study into motherhood.
Yeah, I think starting off maybe not in the most favorable of mothers' directions, but yeah, it was very sweet that Joan Crawford wanted to adopt a child.
If you watch the first 30 minutes and then turn your TV off, it's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is a really great movie. And also that movie came, like, thinking about it, like 1981, that wasn't that long ago.
No,
like
it wasn't.
It feels like an older movie than it is.
It's a classic too. Yeah, I definitely recommend watching that. And you probably only want to watch it once, I think.
You only need to watch it once.
I think it's tough to stomach.
Yeah. Your pick?
On the topic of tough to stomach, I'm starting off with Hereditary.
Oof.
Yup. I think Toni Collette, first of all, should have won an Oscar. That is a snub. At least a nomination, you guys. Come on. That monologue where she's just like, I am your mother, at the table, lives in my head rent free because, like, yeah, your son does kind of suck. And your husband also sucks. And I think about the burden of motherhood and being overlooked constantly and having to shelve your grief and your pain and your strife all the time for others.
Yeah.
Especially in a crazy situation where your daughter is beheaded and your mother was a cult leader. Crazy.
Yeah.
And then you don't get a second to grieve.
No. And then dealing with like a son who also was responsible for your daughter and her safety.
Left her head in the car.
In the fucking car.
For
rolled
you to
out
wake
that
up
bitch.
to.
Ants.
Not even head with the body. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I am your mother. Listen to me, you little shit. Classic.
And all you can do is look at me with that fucking face on your face.
Bars.
Oh my god.
Fucking
her
bars.
Emotion in that scene shivers every time. I love Toni Collette in that movie. She is so amazing. I have the A24 did an online ceramics shirt. Of her and when her husband gets lit on fire and she's just like screaming and her husband's on fire. It's like it's my favorite shirt. I never wear it, but I like her just raw emotion in that movie is great.
When she's screaming and then she stops, terrifying. I did not sleep well. I didn't sleep well for a week after watching this. I watched it for the first time last year, actually.
Really?
Yes, and on purpose.
I get it.
On purpose. And then after I was like, cool, I never need to see this movie again for the rest of my life.
Oh my God.
Fucked me up.
I revisit that one.
No. I could watch Midsummer again.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do Hereditary.
Yeah.
It just was too scary. Too scary, but I do
She
think
should have been Oscar nommed for that.
Something.
This is like my gripe with the Oscars every single year. Like, things that are considered horror should be on the inclusion.
Yeah, because let's talk about Lupita Nyong'o in Us.
No, she ate down.
That's crazy.
She's so good.
That's a crazy snub. That's wild.
Yeah.
Should have gone home with something. I'm leaving here with something.
Toni Collette should have won something. She won in my heart.
Yeah, she won in my heart, and what a scene for motherhood, truly.
Yeah, I agree. My second pick, moving into a little bit more of a light-hearted film here. We have Freaky Friday.
Woo!
If you're familiar with Freaky Friday, it's a remake of the 1976 one. I've never seen, or actually I started watching that one, but I was honestly so bored that I just like couldn't. And I feel like I just have such a kindred nostalgia for this version, starring Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. This one came out in 2003. It was directed by Mark Waters, who also co-directed Mean Girls. But this version is just so good. I feel like it really as an alternative girl myself, really highlighted some of the like tribulations I felt being like stifled by my mother. Ooh, sorry, Mom, if you listen to this. But like, you know, in certain ways, Mom, look away. you know,
that age sucks.
That particular age, like, I don't know, was she like 18, 17?
Yeah, like 16, 17.
16, 17? Yeah, like junior, senior year, the worst.
You don't feel understood.
By anybody.
Really, you're not. Like, let's be for real. Let's be serious. Reflecting back on that as a 20-something-year-old, you aren't being understood.
No. You're also being overlooked as like a person.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then you feel this sort of in between where it's like, you're not a kid, but you're not an adult. And it's the middle, like being a junior, senior is almost like being in middle school. You know, it's like that same like awkwardness because you can't really do shit yet.
But everyone expects you to be doing everything.
Yeah.
Your opinion does not matter, but also you have to watch what you say.
Right. And just like dealing with, you know, your mom being like, oh, but you're friends with this girl, right? And you're like, Mom, we haven't talked since we were literally 10. Like, please don't involve me in that. Just like every facet of that movie felt so real, and just like the frustration, and also acclimating to like a new step parent and stuff like that. Like when you're not
dynamics.
Yeah, changing in family dynamics is really crazy. And then, you know, just trying to make it through, having crushes, yearning, and Jamie Lee Curtis as this character too, like also just trying to understand her daughter, and focusing on her success, which is what I really liked about her, is that her character was really successful on her own, and she really had her own career. She had a new husband, because I believe her husband in the movie dies. So it was cool to see that she had really remade a life for herself, but there was a disconnect with her daughter. And I feel like we all go through that sometimes, you know, like growing within ourselves and then also trying to connect to our family or certain people to us. It feels like sometimes there is that disconnect, and seeing how they cope with it and finally understand each other after their swap at the end. It was cool.
I think it's also that tough age where you're phasing out of, you were best friends with your mom, you know, for people who are close, you're kind of adjusting to like, whoa, I need some space to like be my own person, and you're your own person, and like you don't always get me like that. Also just like back up off me.
Right.
I think Freaky Friday is quintessential media because of the whole swapping places. You know, obviously it was done before that movie, but I think that film really did it well. I fear.
Your second pick?
I'm also going to go with a lighter movie. I'm going to go with The Joy Luck Club, directed by Wayne Wang in 1993. Honestly, one of my favorite movies ever.
I've never seen it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite movies ever. I'm a huge Amy Tan fan, and that's who wrote the book.
Mm-hmm.
She went to San Jose State. I have 5 of her books on my shelf right now.
Oh, that's
I love
awesome.
Amy Tan. I love that she mostly writes about family and mother-daughter relationships. That's kind of what a majority of her books are about, and the Joy Luck Club is no different. But it's what I think is unique is that you get, I think, 4 or 5 different perspectives of young girls with their mothers.
Oh, that's cool.
There's lots of flashbacks. You get to see into the mother's life and their history and what has made them who they are. And it's a lot of that is an immigration story too. What they've given up and what they've sacrificed in China to now be in the U.S. that their daughters don't understand.
Yeah.
And then their daughters are westernized and, living a totally different life than what their mothers can understand and experience. So it's just kind of this meeting of the minds as one of the main characters deals with the trauma of losing her mother. The rest of her Joy Luck Club that plays Mahjong together, those daughters and mothers are telling stories and kind of having flashbacks. And they're filling in that daughter on their mother because she never shared her secrets before passing away. So I really love that movie because I feel like it really shows that it is possible to reconcile. I think it shows the possibility of peace and healing between mothers and daughters, even when there's oceans of gaps between them. I think it shows that it's possible to come from different places of understanding and still have a healed relationship. Also, it's just really beautiful and cool. And I wish that they would do adaptations of her other books too. Anyway, cool. Amy Tan, if you're listening, I love you. Spreading up.
Hey, San Jose State, rise up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lock
That's
in,
cool.
baby.
Okay, so I will have to watch that movie because I do remember it being a book option for us to read in
triple platinum in my house
or something like that.
Triple platinum.
I feel like I've always heard about it, but I never seen it.
Fire.
I may have even seen clips of it. For some reason, Miss Tam in 8th grade, I just remember her. We would watch videos all the time. I feel like I remember the Joy Luck Club in there sometimes.
Yeah, that's a banger.
Yeah.
That's so good. If you're going to watch that, you should also watch Eve's Bio too. I feel like they're one and the same thread.
Okay.
Movies about childhood trauma and adults as they grieve and process.
Hell yeah.
If you're sensing a theme, keep that to yourself. What's your next pick, Jess?
My next pick is Juno. And Juno is just Juno! One of my favorite movies, probably. And, I did think about it, it was kind of an afterthought, I will say. Juno, maybe an obvious choice, but everybody in this movie is just every mother in this movie is just honestly just a positive person.
A mother off, if
and
you will.
A mother off. Juno, a mother. Jennifer Garner's character, a mother. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Janie. Oh my god, Allison Janney. Fuck, what's her name? I have to Google it. But the stepmom. Who plays the stepmom?
She rocks too.
I like her. I think just realizing that, okay, you're pregnant, you're a teenager, you're I am not able to raise this baby. However, I would love to make somebody else who can't raise a baby, it is Allison Janney who plays the stepmom, but make that possible for someone who can't conceive. That's very thoughtful for a teenage girl to do, and the depiction of that I think is really beautiful. And then also the mother who is adopting, played by Jennifer Garner, her name is Vanessa. She is so sincere in that movie, and she's so fun, and she wants to make sure that she has everything set up for her baby and things like that, and she always checks on Juno and makes sure that she's okay. And then when Juno has that little fling with Mark, Vanessa's husband, well, Mark has a little fling for Juno. It's kind of weird.
Drake, you can relate to that. Continue.
Drake, listen, it's been a long week for Drake. But the stepmom, Brenda, she talks to Juno about it, and she's do you see what this situation is? you have to make the best decision for yourself. And I feel like every mother in this movie is like relatively grounded, except for really Juno, which she is, but she's still a child, so she's still learning. But I think that she has a lot of great mother influences. And this movie is just like so beautiful and funny and heartwarming.
Yep.
And yeah, shout out to all the moms on that one. That is truly like my favorite mother movie.
I do love Juno.
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent movie. I think it's very heartwarming and very fun.
Yeah.
And just so solid. What a motherhood story that is very unlikely, very different, you know, very unique.
I agree.
And I think it doesn't shit on like teen moms too, which I appreciate.
Yeah. There is that like abortion clinic scene.
Oh yeah.
But and you can see like Juno's conflict when her classmate says like, "Did you know that babies have fingernails?" And she's like, "Mom, do you know that babies have fingernails?"
Yeah, that was crazy.
And like,
thanks for sharing.
Yeah. That was funny. Like that was the only like anti-abortion rhetoric, but it's just like a I think that was also really humanizing too.
I think so too.
Because
the guilt
it's like
and all the other feelings.
Yeah, it touches on all the other feelings and the confliction, and also like the people around you that you exist with, like her classmate, have opposing views to you.
And some people are just stupid. There's also that.
Yeah, because Juno wasn't even like, well, she was there for an abortion initially, right? But like she also wasn't gonna follow through with that.
Yeah. So I like that movie. That's a solid choice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end us off with a classic. When you think of motherhood and you think of motherhood strife and that relationship with your daughter, I know you must think of Lady Bird. So
obviously
gotta pick Greta Gerwig 2017 Lady Bird. Primarily the scene in the dressing room where she's like, "Yeah, I know that you love me, but do you like me?"
Damn.
Case closed. Actually, you could end the episode right here.
No.
That's everything.
When she said that, I swear to God, I full on sobbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real question.
Mm-hmm.
That's some real shit. And I feel like I understand Lady Bird because she's living, I mean, first of all, Sacramento, enough said there too.
Yeah.
But,
close to home.
Close to home. Just feeling like you cannot wait to get out of where you are. You don't feel understood. And oh my God, I can't wait for this next passage of my life. And, you know, I feel like I'm breaking out of this box. I'm going crazy. Like no one is understanding me. And you get to that passage of your life and you're like, damn, I kind of miss where I was.
And I'm
like,
scared.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I need someone to hold my hand. And I think the stubbornness of her mother, where she refuses to see her off at the airport when her daughter is scared and her daughter needs her the most, you know, but her mom wants to prove a point so badly that that's just more important.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that is very, very interesting viewing.
Yeah,
you know?
it resonates a little too close to home.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she rewrites all the letters to her, that like really, oh my God, I could cry thinking about it. It just was so touching and painful. And when just like, oh my God, just everything about that movie just really sucks in like the best way, you know? Really? Like I feel like every girl that has like it, dude, and honestly any girl that has a relationship with your mother, it feels like that. And it feels so, I can't even describe it, put into words. Greta Gerwig, the things you did with that film.
No, like so codependent, but so independent at the same time.
Yeah.
It's such a tough spot to be in. And everything about her, from, you know, trading friends because you're like, oh my God, like maybe I'm cooler over here. And like that guy is so cute. And then you get to know him and you're like, ugh, brother, like, brother, what is this? Like, I'm smarter than you and more. I have more on the ball than you, and I was willing to just sacrifice all of these things about myself for 5 minutes of your time. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But behind you, your mother's like, well, I've been saying all these great things. But it's like, girl, I need to know them for myself. Like,
yeah. And also, like, the sort of identity shame that we all feel, like, her saying that she's from San Francisco just because it's easier, like, that's not just what that's about. There are nuances to that. There's also like shame in where you come from and being perceived in a certain way that I really was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think even the scene when they're both in the car and they're having a good time, you know,
Yeah.
And then it just, like, immediately escalates.
So fast.
So fucking fast. And then she's just like, I'm going to jump out the car. And then she does and breaks her arm. I'm like, yeah.
Who knows how to push your buttons like the person who gave birth to you?
Yeah. Nobody. Truly nobody.
Not a damn person.
No. That parental, like, ugh, God.
Yikes.
Seeing that movie in the theater for the first time, I think, was one of the most painful experiences I've ever had. It was literally like watching myself on screen.
I think I watched that at home because I was like, nah, I'm okay.
Good for you.
I'll cry at home.
I watched that definitely like the first week it came out.
Ooh.
Oh God, Lady Bird. And then I remember just being like, wow, I need to watch this again.
Yeah.
And then telling my mom to watch it.
Yeah.
Not together, though.
Not together.
Yeah.
Do not recommend watching that I do not recommend watching any of these movies with your mom.
Yeah.
Even the happy ones. I mean, maybe you could, but I feel
Freaky
like
Friday and Juno and the
you know what?
Joy Luck Club?
Juno you could. Joy Luck Club.
No?
I don't know. I think it depends. I think if that story hits too close to home for you personally and you relate to your parents immigrating or you immigrating, I think that's a tough watch. I think it's kind of like Everything Everywhere at Once, where I think if you're Asian American too, an Asian American woman,
yeah,
do not recommend watching with your mom unless you all got a strong foundation to have these conversations. But otherwise, that could go south very fast.
Yeah.
And you're gonna leave kind of frustrated. So at your own discretion with that one, I think. But yeah, you could do Freaky Friday. You could do Freaky Friday. You could do Juno for sure, because like, how are you gonna beef with me over Juno?
No, you can't beef with anyone over Juno.
Like, I'm not with child right now, so there's nothing that you could point at this and be like, that's you. No.
Mm-mm.
Actually, Rue.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
This play is not about us.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
We look forward to seeing you on Father's Day. We'll have equally exciting picks.
100%.
Enjoy. Bye.